All right, my friends, welcome to episode 148 of Prof and Dev Play Games. Before I do the rest of the rigmarole, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. I want to plug my other podcast. It's called Pan Pacific Improv Fantasy. I do it with another one of our friends. We basically do one line, and we build a whole improv skit off that line in a fantasy setting. Usually pretty funny, sometimes kind of dumb. Season 2 launches tomorrow, so if you're interested, check out your podcast service. It's Pan Pacific Improv Fantasy, and by tomorrow, I mean 18th of July, 2019. Another piece of news, I am cheating on the dev. Tomorrow night, I'm recording a podcast with a friend of mine who does social media for a gaming company. I'm talking to him about what that's like, and all that kind of stuff, and also talking to him about games he's been playing, including Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So that will actually be episode 149, and we're going to publish that on Thursday. So it'll be Prof and not the dev for that episode. But for this episode, there will be the dev, and he is at Summer Speak. I am, of course, at Prof Plays Games, and this week we are talking about Nintendo and the games we're playing. But before we get there, how has your last week been, man?
It's been good. I mean, recording late because I've spent a week on the road camping with family, 2 kids, which has been insane, but overall was pretty good. Got to see some places in Idaho that I'd never been. McCall, just kind of northern central-ish Idaho. It's just a big lake town for the most part. Great lake there, Piatt Lake, great state park. Stayed there and rented a pontoon boat and spent a day out on the lake. Doing some tubing, having flotation devices for my kids to putz around on beaches and wherever. It was fun there, and then went south to like Twin Falls area, Sawtooth Mountains, and saw Shoshone Falls, and then the Dark Sky Preserve. Oh
my god, that's awesome.
If it's the only one in the continental U.S. so far officially set up. All the towns, actually, even outside of it, have I was reading about it, have made, by 2021, they want to completely limit their light pollution in the towns near it. This is like a thing from the central Idaho thing. They want this to stay as little light pollution as possible. So at middle of the night, you can see the Milky Way galaxy. You can see billions of stars, honestly.
Oh my God,
it's insane. It's rare that you'll ever get to see that, and I highly recommend it. It's kind of awe-inspiring whenever you do get to see a true night sky and all the stars. You realize how minuscule you are in the universe.
Right.
So we did that, and then we went back as we were heading back north, back through McCall, and then to this place called Hell's Gate State Park, which is a great name.
Sounds inviting. Yeah.
But it's on the Snake River, right on the border between Washington and Idaho, and stayed there for a couple nights and did a jet boat tour down the Snake River, about 70 miles down it.
Dang.
And yeah, it's just really gorgeous views, and like you're really in this like pretty deep canyon. Going up, got to see lots of cool things, get off, play again more. Playing on beaches and generally just getting information on that. Like, it was a pretty good road trip, and then home. Like, eventful, good summer trip, a week with 2 young kids. That's about as much as I can take.
That's a lot of energy, I assume.
It's a lot of energy, and like lack of sleep, and yeah.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back to the land of video games.
I didn't really keep a lot of up to date on much of a whole lot going on. I had internet sometimes, but not all the time, and I didn't spend a lot of time like focused on it. So,
well, you didn't miss a lot of news. There's one news story that kind of kicked up that we wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about tonight with you. And it's basically, I think it was Reggie Fils-Aimé from Nintendo in an interview talking about how they want to have 20 to 30. They want to get to the point where they have 20 to 30 indie games launching on Nintendo Switch eShop every week. And every week. Yeah, 20 to 30 every week. Which, for context, I think Steam is like 120 a week or something like that. So there's a ton on Steam, and it's, obviously Steam is what it is. But my question, I want to talk to you about this because as an indie dev, imagining if you wanted to put an indie game on Switch, 20 to 30 a week. What does that do for discoverability? What does that do for
in the current version of their store on the Switch? It's terrible.
Yeah. And why?
Like it can't facilitate that many new games, like visibility for that many new games a week. I mean, as far as I can tell, they don't do any kind of algorithms pushing like games that you would be interested in. At least Valve has focused a lot on that. On like when I log into Steam, it shows me games that at least it thinks I'll be interested in based on games I've played, what I own. Apple does similar things because they get hundreds of games a day, I think.
The curation on Apple has gotten a lot better. They've hired people specifically for that kind of stuff. But
I mean,
for Nintendo eShop at all.
Even 20 to 30 games a week is, I mean, at that point, you're gonna start seeing some pretty harsh realities of you better be good at marketing because people are never gonna see your game. Unless Nintendo puts a lot of work into making it surface, like let algorithms or their own stuff curate to bring it forward, then you're gonna need, indie devs are gonna need to, again, be very focused on external platforms, like just external social media and marketing to push there, so people will ideally buy them, make it visible, which will make it raise on the charts. Because I assume anything in the top like 10 would probably be very visible. But if you're not there, good luck.
Right, because that's what the eShop is now, where you can go through like the whole list, and it's just chronological, or go into bestsellers, download, or all of them. Yep. And that kind of surfaces what people... There's no review system, but it surfaces what people are buying.
Yep.
But I don't know if you've gone through the eShop and kind of sifted through what's there. It's just... I mean, it's easy to navigate, but hard to find stuff. Because there's so... Even now, there's so many games that are mobile ports, and, you know, games that I'm not super interested in, not to say that other people wouldn't be interested in. But in the early days of the Switch, games like, and one that specifically sticks out is Golf Story, which didn't have a huge marketing at all. And it was basically that, and Blossom Tales actually are two games that picked up steam simply because users were able to find it, try it out, and then word of mouth just lit the fire under those two games. But my worry is that in a crowded marketplace, it's going to be harder to find those unknown games, give them a try, and then spark the word of mouth.
Yeah, no, I completely
hype train.
Worry about that. I mean, we've been seeing some good success from indie devs on Switch, but I believe that we're now hitting the gold rush times on a new platform that is successful, and now everyone's going to pile in, and doesn't seem like... It's just history repeating itself. I don't see Nintendo changing the pattern that we've seen on Steam, App Store. I mean, Xbox Live, originally on the 360, had the same freaking problem, because everyone was like, oh man, these games are making so much money here, so let's just start putting tons of games out on Xbox Live. And, well, very few actually made anything after that.
Right, it's like diminishing returns, right? Where people are like, we heard the Switch is the great place for indies to sell copies of their game. Let's get on there. So the whole process takes a while. Once they finally get on there, they probably don't see as many sales as they
No. Like I said, unless you have good additional marketing outside pushing people to the Switch platform, and that's even harder at this point because it's not like the Switch is connected up with like web browser and the whole thing. Like, it's going to be very word of mouth for the most part. I haven't even looked on that. Can like people buy ads on like the tiles or anything that show up whenever on your like lock screen?
No,
because I mean those always shift around for me, but I don't know how that's done. If that's
you mean like the news items there?
Yeah.
That's just news. No, it's not.
So I don't know. Like that makes it really hard to just even surface stuff on the platform itself.
Right.
I'm really skeptical on. I get that they're like great, they're getting a ton of games, but at some point that's just going to lead to people not like devs not looking at it as like a primary platform that they should like. They'll release it on it, but they don't expect much out of it.
Well, it's definitely right now. It seems like it's a very. You don't have to be super intentional when you're going through the eShop. You can find a few things that look interesting and kind of try them out. But eventually it's just going to be the games that everyone knows about to go and look for, like the Hollow Knights or, Octopath Traveler or whatever. But the smaller games that might be gems, like this Blossom Tales that came out, which is basically the ripoff of Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, would be hard to find. In a year, would be hard to find that kind of game, unless the price point makes it stand out.
There we go. I have my Switch in front of me. Why not look at the store right now? What is it showing me? I didn't even know Hand of Fate was on here.
Yeah, Hand of Fate launched today. Hand of Fate 2, I mean.
Octopath, Toad. Oh, Galaxy came here.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Do you see that it's free to play?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's to buy the subsequent seasons or something. I'm not sure.
I would assume.
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot here. Featured. So, are there any indies featured?
Oh yeah, Hollow Knight's on there for sure.
So the top 4 are on featured for me are Fortnite, Octopath Traveler, Mario Tennis, and Captain Toad.
Definitely.
After that is Splatoon, Mario Rabbids, Xenoblade Chronicles, Shining Resonance. Oh, Overcooked 2 is the first true indie there. And that's like 9 down. So that's pretty below. Hollow Knight is right below it. So, yeah, so the top, like what people will see for the most part, I'll just give them the first 6, are 4 Nintendo things, Fortnite, and Octopath Traveler.
Right, so if
good luck, indies. Good luck.
That people aren't going to scroll down, even on a page that only has like 15,
Yeah, they're not going to scroll. From my time on games in like the App Store on Apple, people looked at the top 10. And once you drop below the top 10, you would see your downloads and sales drop roughly by half. And then every 10 after that, like every time it dropped, I think it was like 1 to 10 was one thing, and it was like 11 to 25 you saw was a chunk, and after 25 it dropped by half again. Like, just these huge drop-offs. So once you fell out of that top 10, you knew there was almost no way to recover. Like, you just try to ride the tail.
That's kind of how I roll with Steam. Like, I'll turn Steam on and look at the top sellers, just the first page. I don't click past the first page. And if something there catches my eye, I'll check it out. Otherwise,
I shouldn't have looked at here.
No.
Great deals. So this is probably where... So for $3 is Letter Quest, the Bookworm Adventures ripoff.
Exactly. I saw that on the preview yesterday. And I was like, it's cheap.
I don't want to crap on them, but I made Bookworm Adventures stuff.
They ripped off your fucking game.
They did rip off games that I had worked on.
Yep.
It is exactly, but it's not as good. And I feel bad saying it, but it's just not.
Which is why I did not purchase that game.
I was hoping, and it's just, choose a better font. Oh, the tile font. And I come from a background of PopCap when I sit there and complain about the font and the fact that we probably spent 2 months going through fonts on what font the letters should be on tiles.
Oh, that would drive me nuts.
But it's serious. It was super important. We want something not too thick, not too you're like, the detail that we'd go to sometimes. And people would be like, you're dumb, just pick a font. Like, it's fine. We're like, no, the Q has a weird curl on it. We don't want that. Never mind. Get out of the store. I'm not gonna look
but that great deals tab is interesting way to find, see what is cheap and what people are liking that's cheap, but it's also way too crowded.
It's cheap, but that's the thing. It's great that you're surfacing deals for people, but you don't want to go the way of Steam, where it's only people buying stuff on sale.
Right, exactly. And I think for the most part, that's not happening with the more well-known games. Yeah. I feel like people are excited to buy them when they launch. Like Hollow Knight sold 250,000 copies, basically out the gate. But then not everything's Hollow Knight. So that's had a lot of buzz for a long time.
They built a lot of stuff around that game outside of this. Yeah.
But man, overall, the Switch, if good indie games keep coming, like Hyper Light Drifter's coming out soon, it's become my indie machine.
I'll buy Hyper Light. God, I'm going to double it there.
I'm certainly going to rebuy it there because I want to get in, and it's just a perfect place for it. But it's become an indie machine. I have not purchased one single first-party Nintendo game this year, and I'm not going to until December.
Smash.
Smash, exactly, because everything else has been a straight Wii U port for the most part. And it's just, I had a Wii U, and there's nothing for me on the Switch right now from Nintendo because I bought all those games on the Wii U, and they were great games. And if you didn't have a Wii U, you're really playing a ton of great Nintendo games this year. But for those of us who did support Nintendo with Wii U, it's kind of sucks a little bit.
Yeah.
But the indies have picked up, like Hollow Knight. Last episode I think I had said I put 5 hours into it, and since then now I have 23 hours.
That's impressive.
A lot of hours in 1 week have been.
Yeah.
That game. I can't wait to talk about it. It's so good. But yeah, Nintendo's got a surfacing problem, and I think it's going to get worse if they want to put that many indie games a week. And I wonder, is it just because they take 30% of every game that they just want as many games as possible so they can take as many cuts? I don't know.
It's less that, of course, having more games, that bigger market that sell more games, they make more money. But it's also a thing of prestige, like when they can point, like, we have this many games on our platform. That's an important metric when trying to sell a console to a consumer.
Right.
Like, buy it because there's 1,000 games for you to play on it.
Even if like 500 of them aren't super good,
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Okay, just a number matters. Okay,
a number makes for great marketing.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We have to understand most people don't follow game news at all. Like, are not that involved in looking at like what's coming out and the quality of the games. They will look at a picture, they will click on it, read the description, be like, "Oh, that sounds cool. I'll get it."
Yeah.
Most people aren't as keyed in as probably you and I on quality and like what's good, what's not. They don't care. They just that fits a genre that I like to play, and it's cheap. Let's get it. Okay.
They're looking for a diversion. They're not looking for perhaps the best quality game. But
exactly.
It's fun. So it makes sense. But I think there's too much on it right now. But that said, I am able to parse for the most part the games that I want to come out. Like, I spend a lot of time looking at what's coming out and what I want to play. So it's not going to overwhelm me, but we are, the hardcore gamers are a specific version of the market.
So yeah. I think that rolls into what we've kind of been playing. I've been gone a lot, but I have been able to put in about 6 hours into a game since I've been home.
Oh, shit. You got 6 hours into, let me guess, Octopath Traveler.
I did.
Nice.
Waiting for me when I played I played like 3 hours last night, and then I've played off and on today. And then I'm at 8.5 total, and that includes my demo save.
Right.
Because I just loaded right from where that demo was. 3 hours in, continued. Have to remember what I was doing, but continued. And I've put 5 more hours in. Just got my 6th Traveler. I have 2 more to go collect.
Who's your main? Who's the...
Ophelia.
Oh, okay.
I have to choose that name. She's the priest.
Merchant? Oh, the priest. Oh, okay.
I just got the merchant, Tressa. That's the one I just finished.
Nice.
Reading Jason Schreier's thing.
Yeah.
And then playing it myself, seeing like IGN rated the game at like 9.3.
Right.
So there's some Schreier's thing was still positive, but he had a lot of negatives.
Correct.
Now coming into it going like, I think it all comes down to your expectations of what the story is.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a whole lot of expectation on how everything was going to hook together. So I feel like I'm perfectly happy with how it's going.
Okay.
I don't care that it cuts to like very focused on one character. Like, I don't need I'm finding I don't need the niceties of like, why are these other characters here? Why would they be here? I don't care.
So you don't care about the interaction between the characters so much?
Not so much.
Okay.
I am very happy in the mechanics. The combat's awesome, and it's way deeper than I thought it was going to be. It has a whole job system. Holy crap. I haven't even unlocked it, but there's a job system.
Nice.
And then you can like dual class all the characters. And there's all sorts of passive abilities and tweaking of, I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm done. This is it. I'm good. Like, so
the systems are what's the main menu.
Yeah, the main menu. Like, it feels good. the individual character stories are fun and nice so far. Like, some are better than others, and some are more tropey than others, but
yeah,
that's fine. Like, there are certain characters I like, and like Tressa's was fun. That was silly. Just finished. And there's a lot of them. There's a number of them that I'm curious, because this is all the first chapters that I'm going through. I'm curious where they're going to progress to. Like, I don't care that the other characters' stories weave in and out of them. That doesn't matter. I'm actually interested in some of the characters, like, oh, that was an interesting twist in the first chapter. Where is this going to lead?
So basically taking each one as like, it's 8 individual stories. I don't care if they cross or come together.
It's 8 individual.
Okay.
It's I would think of it as like a short story collection more than anything. It's an anthology. That's actually how I'm viewing it now, is it's like, this is an anthology RPG. Which is very different than it's done before, so sure.
Yeah. Are you finding it repetitive in a way that's off-putting?
Not to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get his, Jason Schreier's complaints on the, like, yep, you go through, chapter 1, is very much similar. Like, everyone, you go in, you get a cutscene, it sets up the context for that character. You will then get sent somewhere to a dungeon or an area that you'll work your way through and then fight a boss. Okay. But my thing is, I'm like, in some ways it is repetitive, but it's also distilling down what every JRPG is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the structure of most JRPGs ever. Like, so it's not bothering me, because I enjoy the combat while I'm doing it. I enjoy the mixing of the characters. That's one thing. Like, the stories aren't combining, but the actual party composition matters. And I'm starting, now that I have 6, you can have 4 in a party, so I'm swapping characters out and trying to figure out what party composition I want, based on, like, what weapons they have, what kind of spells they can use, what their, out of combat, like, in-town abilities are, like, when talking to people, and, like, trying to not overlap them too much. There's a lot to consider there. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I would recommend this for anybody that likes systems. If you're looking for like a deep story, I don't think this is the game that gives it to you. It gives you enough of a story to continue, but if you just want to get like lost in like systems and customizing and tweaking, and this is kind of the game for you.
It makes me think a little bit of Fire Emblem. I know it's not the same.
Actually, that's what it's
gameplay,
been thinking of in some ways.
Yeah, because for me, the story of Fire Emblem is like, meh, it's alright. But just the gameplay is fucking phenomenal. So that's kind of where I'm leaning toward. Like, I read Schreier's article, I read the IGN one, I read a few others, and a lot of it's skewing positive, the response to the game, and everyone that I'm following just playing this game and saying, like, this game is fucking rad. It's like, apparently, Amazon got sold out of the game, and people are just having such a ball with this game.
I'm having a blast. It's scratching the itch for the JRPG that I've been wanting. But I can see, like, reading Jason Schreier's, his kind of previous thing and then his review, he had a much different expectation of what this game was going to be. Like, I feel like he was expecting, like, because one of the things he misread or read it was supposed to be, like, heavily inspired by Final Fantasy VI, which has a very deep connected story between all the characters. By that started making assumptions that all these 8 characters would intertwine and they'd have this big complicated story. Like, I feel like there was a lot of pre-expectation that got set up in there. Not because he's like a bad person or anything. It's just like the way he read information and got information, he started putting pieces together that, as far as I can tell, were never actually completely said that way.
Right, especially, if someone told me this game is like Witcher 3, that's all I'd hear. I was just like, get so excited. Because, Final Fantasy VI, I think, is one of his favorite games. So it's just like, yes, I want that. I'm so excited. And then it's just like, nope, that's not exactly what you're getting.
That's not what you're getting. Combat, you kind of are. Somewhat. Right. Although this is not ATB combat. This is its own thing. It's as close as you're going to get to tactical combat in a I don't move around the screen sort of way. Like,
right.
Because, man, do you sit, even in, like, trash battles, do you sit there and go, like, all right, this person's going to do this attack that's going to weaken them this way, and then this person, like, you're planning out your entire turn and, like, who can do what and hit what weaknesses, or if you get new monsters that you don't know what their weaknesses are yet. You're just like, all right, time to start experimenting and seeing if I can figure out what they might be weak to.
I like the RPGs that even like the random encounters or whatever, you're still thinking through everything instead of just automatically pressing buttons or whatever.
Yeah, there's no auto pressing. That's an odd thing when playing this. So it's the team that did the Bravely Default games.
Right.
And those had a ton of things to speed up combat and avoid random encounter, like just tons of niceties and like, oh, I can like pre-program 4 different sets of commands, so I can just like quadruple the speed of the game, set it to auto, and then my characters will just do all the same attacks constantly, and just I can run around and grind. This game has none of those features. You can't turn off random encounters. There is no like setting pre-programmed things. They just chose not to put any of that stuff in. I think from a design perspective, to be like, they're going like, no, this is much more thoughtful in its combat, and you need to focus on it. And in a weird way, grinding is what you do. So
right. Well, that's a hallmark of those types of games. But there is one thing you mentioned that actually is in the game in terms of one of the characters. Apparently, and I haven't played this, but a lot of the stuff I've been reading, podcasts, whatever, keep talking about one of the characters. I don't know who it is, but one of his path traits or path abilities or whatever it is to turn down the frequency of random encounters.
Oh, wow.
That's his actual skill.
That must be a passive that they get eventually.
Yeah.
Because you weirdly unlock... There's so many systems. They're not so many, but there's a few systems, and there's ways to you unlock new skills for your character, and as you unlock those skills, you unlock passives, and then each character can have 4 passive skills equipped. Mm-hmm. So when you start multi-classing, like saying I want to be priest, hunter, you can have a mix of their passive skills. So I bet I don't have that character yet, or haven't unlocked that skill. So we'll see. That'd be cool. But that fits more with how older JRPGs did it, where they would have an item or something you could equip to turn off random encounters or turn down random encounters. Where Bravely Default was like, no, there's no items. You just go to the options and just dial the game into however you want to play it right now. I mean, there are places where this streamlines a lot of that old school stuff, and then they don't completely. But visually, I'm in love with it. Music is great.
Yeah, I heard the soundtrack is killer.
Soundtrack is great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And graphically, it's just really fun to look at this diorama kind of stuff.
Yeah. Are you playing handheld?
A handheld. I played it some on the TV tonight. Played about an hour on the TV tonight. Looked great there. There was some slowdown on the TV.
That's odd, considering it's supposed to be higher powered. That's docked.
But I think it's coming out at 1080p.
Yeah,
as opposed to 720. I think there was just a few times I noticed some frame hitching, but nothing that was horrible. It was just certain parts of towns. But beyond that, it looked great either way. It's a unique visual style, and they really focused on a lot of ambient stuff going on constantly, which has been very nice.
That's what's great about this game, is that they kind of hung their hat on the graphics and the combat system, and they sound like both of those things are just out the park awesome. Yeah. So I think I could forgive some of the story.
And the story stuff definitely feels like I said, it's an anthology. Just treat it as an anthology. That's what it is. Yeah. And they didn't try to shoehorn some, like, we're going to make some grand thing to mix all this together. Like I don't think it's a save the world game. It doesn't feel like it.
Thank God. I'm more interested in kind of smaller stories in big worlds. And that's nice.
And that's what this is. And I'm glad it's selling well. That's really cool. I want it to sell so well. I want to see more from this company, from this team Acquire. It's currently the best seller on the Switch eShop.
Right.
So
I'm definitely going to dig into it once I'm going to play the demo first, and once I get through that, then I'll make the purchase. So whenever I actually get time to do that, that's what it's going to tell me.
You got to finish this next game first, I'm sure.
I do. I got to finish Hollow Knight, which I'm probably going to finish it this week. which actually, before I forget, reminds me, I'm probably going to be ready for God of War at the beginning of August.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
So if you're able to send that, that'd be great.
Yep.
So I'm going to finish the game I'm playing probably this next week, which is Hollow Knight. Man, summers are great when I'm not working. Have time to actually play game. And being portable, I'm able to pick it up, like kids down for a nap, put in half an hour, or, airplane ride. I played a lot this last week when I took a trip. So I've put, 18 hours in the past week into this game, and just it's really solidifying what I love about Hollow Knight. Obviously, it's a Metroidvania. We talked about the mix of Dark Souls, Metroid, Castlevania kind of stuff. But the thing that's different for me about this game than other Metroidvanias that I've played is that I feel like in Super Metroid or a couple other games, when you get gated and you can't go a certain direction, you really are kind of pushed to go in one way. Like, you can kind of explore the whole map, but you really kind of get pushed in one direction. It's, from my experience playing those games. Whereas with Hollow Knight, if you're stuck somewhere, you can go explore like 3 or 4 different areas.
Oh, nice.
Like, it's really varied. So if I get bored in one place, or not bored, but like just frustrated or stuck, I have 3 other places to explore at any one time, basically.
Okay, that's nice.
I'm constantly stumbling into new areas, or going back and re-exploring, 6 or 7 different old areas with a new ability. And it's just, I just keep thinking of it as like, this is just a weird metaphor, but like when you're making your own pizza and you roll out the dough and you're flattening it out and you roll it in one direction and then roll it in another direction. As you keep going in all different directions, the dough just kind of slowly expands out and out and out.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I feel like is happening with this game, where like the map just keeps, I push up and I push down, I push left, I push right. I'm continuing to expand the map in all directions as I go. And along the way, I'm picking up new charms, meeting new enemies. I had just a crazy surprise happen to me when I beat this boss last night. When I went back to an old area, something big had changed that I wasn't expecting at all, which I don't really want to spoil for you because I hope you play this game.
I plan on playing this one.
Fuck, it's great.
Probably next month, maybe? Seems reasonable.
That sounds awesome. And it's, reasonably priced, $15, of course. Into this month, the last DLC drops, so you'll have everything on you.
Nice.
No, sorry. Into next month it pops.
Okay.
But it's end game content anyway, so it wouldn't matter. Another thing that I really like about the game is the charm system. You have a series of what's called notches. Let's say you have 4 notches, and you're able to equip charms that equal that amount of notches. So like a really strong charm will cost 4 notches.
Okay.
Or a weak charm will cost 1, so you can have 4 1-notch charms, or 1 4-notch charm, whatever. And as you're going through the game, you pick up more notches, so you're able to put more charms together. And the way the charms interact, there's charms that like double your HP, but you can't heal yourself. Charms that give you like a stench around you that harms enemies. One's like a floating shield. One lets you pick up more geo, which is the currency in the game. Yeah. Whatever.
Didn't you mention one of them is like show you your place on the map?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it can be all sorts. I've heard that like they can be just crazy different things.
Exactly. And the way that they work, they all interact with each other, but they're so situational. Like I'm fighting a boss where I keep dying to the boss. I know where I am on the map. I don't need the map. I don't need to increase my geo. I need stuff specifically to fight this boss. So I'm able to like reset my charms and figuring out like what set of charms works best for this boss. There was a different boss that I like threw myself against like 40 times in a row and died over and over and over again. So then I, tried different kinds of charms and finally settled on one set of charms that basically let me kill all the mobs that were around me, so I could focus on the boss. And that first try I went and beat him after I had set my charms in that way. So nice. It's kind of it's a strategic way of thinking for this platforming Metroidvania. We're in the situation where you just, if you think about like Super Metroid or even the Samus Returns or whatever, you're fighting a boss and it's about like the ability to like dodge the attacks and shoot them in the right spot or whatever. And if you can't do that, you gotta make sure your timing's right eventually. Where this has that, plus the way that the charms work can tip the battle, like 10% in your direction will give you the edge, basically. Like this, the boss, when I finally got this set of charms, I had like a sliver of health less, 1 mask left of health, and I beat him. I was just like, I was just jubilant. And it's punishing. The bosses are punishing, but other than that one boss, it's never felt unfair. And I find it funny, like when I look online to see how other people are faring against these bosses, like there are some of these bosses that are like, so difficult, can't beat this, gotta, rage quit, whatever. And it's like, I beat them in like 5 tries, and it's like feeling pretty good about my skills. And there's a couple different charms that I looked up to see, like, where is this charm? And stuff that I read was like, this is in a super hard spot, the platforming is really difficult, it's hard to get to. And I go, it's a fucking cakewalk. And I was like, wait a second, why do people think the platforming is so difficult? And I was like, oh yeah, the game that I played immediately before this was Celeste. So after Celeste, the platforming in this game is easy. In fact, some of the platforming is just dumb. It's just too easy. So my one chief criticism is the platforming is just very rote and not very inspired. But the rest, the lore, the charms, the bosses, the exploring, everything's great. And then there's this new thing I picked up where your main attack is a nail that you can upgrade. But eventually you find something called a dream nail. And the dream nail is a secondary attack where after you beat a boss, some of them, you can hit them with a dream nail, like their corpse basically after you're dead or whatever. And it opens up a dream fight with them where you're fighting like an enhanced, stronger version to collect something called essence, which you use for like a different end game scenario. So there's just a second layer to the game where like you can just play the regular way, or you can then do the dream fights and some of the other dream content basically that adds like a harder difficulty into the same game as you're playing.
Oh, nice.
This
game just feels like it just has an insane amount of content.
It's unbelievable. I still have probably 3 or 4 areas to go, and then to go back through the areas, based on combing through, I just picked up a double jump ability, and combing back through and using the double jump to unlock new areas and find new stuff. And the double jump, actually, the way that it worked, I think a lot of people would have gotten the double jump a lot earlier than I did. So I actually got some of the harder stuff first. So there's a lot of variety in how you can kind of attack the game, what abilities you get, what places you unlock, and things like that. So it's just...
And for $15, this is ridiculous.
It's an insane amount of content for $15, and the way that it works is there's so much free DLC that, you're paying... on Switch, most of that DLC comes with it. But people on PC who bought the game at $15, or a lot of the time it's on sale for $10, who got the base game. And on top of that, there's a ton of free stuff that just enhances the game. It's like the gift that keeps on giving this game. Like, I hope you play this game soon. I hope that you like it. I think you will like it. I would say the first 2 hours are kind of slow. But being a veteran of Metroidvania games,
I can deal with slow for a few hours. That's
So it's consumed my life. Probably the last game was Breath of the Wild, but before that it was Witcher 3. Nothing since then. It's easily in my top 10 of all time, this game.
Wow. Okay.
And it's, I haven't played a ton of Metroidvania games. I've dabbled in Super Metroid, Samus Returns, Symphony of the Night, Ori and the Blind Forest, a couple more games I can't really think of right now. This is my favorite. Maybe it's not the best, but it's my favorite that I've played. And it's, I'm looking forward to finishing this podcast tonight so I can get back to it, because there's, 3 or 4 paths in the original area that I was in that are still inaccessible, that I finally got the new ability to go in there and see what's up there. And usually it's like a charm, or, sometimes it's a new ability, and it's just...
There's always something, though.
Yeah, it's always something. There's always something around the corner. Either it's a new environment, a new enemy, new piece of lore. There was one part where I got a key to open the door, and inside was just a ghost of a woman, a bug woman, whatever, who's a singer. She's just singing for you, and it's just this piece of story that doesn't enhance your character at all. It just builds out the story of the world in a very organic way, and it's just, I am fucking addicted to playing Hollow Knight right now. It's just, it's a great game.
That's awesome. Yeah. I can't wait to try it.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear your take on it. I think that there's a lot to like there.
Yeah, talking about the charm thing, that seems to be a pretty common thing right now. I know Nier Automata did a similar thing. on a much grander kind of scale. Like you have a lot more points to spend. But I mean, you could be like, I want to deactivate my HUD so I have more room to
more RAM to run something else.
Yeah, so but similar type of thing of being like, I don't need these features right now because I need offense or defensive or these other abilities while I'm doing this thing.
Well, it gives you so much power and so much independence. Like I can build the game in a way that is interesting to me right now. I don't have to follow, like a set build, and it just the level of strategy, but also just it's engaging because it's always different. Like when I change my build with my charms, like my character plays differently in the middle of this game I was already playing. So, I can't talk highly enough.
There's so many good games. Why are there so many good games, and why are they?
Right.
This is ridiculous.
You have a game like Hollow Knight, which you could easily put 30 to 50 hours into, and that will make you miss a lot of other games that come out because you don't need to play that many if you have one great game like that.
Yeah. And I should say, we both got these games we're playing. We got Destiny 2 for $6.
Yeah, oh my god.
I don't have a huge amount of interest in Destiny 2, but for $6.50 after tax, for me, it's sitting up there now. I can play the campaign, I guess. That's great. And
it's certainly worth that money, the campaign.
It's kind of crazy it's that cheap. What the hell?
Well, it makes sense because then they want you in so that if you're interested, then you'll buy the DLC.
I know. It's totally a thing of now it's just a lost leader on the base game.
Exactly.
Just get more people playing. A percentage of them will convert to buying the new expansions or the season passes. So,
right. I
don't know. Sure.
The other game that I played this week was Portal 2. I finished the co-op campaign with Brad. And it was a couple weeks ago we were playing and we had to stop because my wife was going to bed. So we stopped and we're going to finish it another day. And we finished it this last week. We've stopped 3 minutes from the end. We didn't realize the end was coming that quickly. So we beat it. And then we decided on what our next co-op game was going to be. We're going to finish Halo 5. We're almost done with that.
Okay.
Then we decided we would do Destiny 2 on the computer because we both got it on the Humble Bundle. So I'm going to play through the campaign with him on PC and then play through it with you on the PS4. So
I see.
I'll be getting my Destiny fix pretty soon. Oh, and then there's a pre-order bonus for the game that we decided to play together, which is Divinity Original Sin 2. So there's also that coming up.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, there's like you said, so many great games to play. It's hard to even filter down to the good ones.
Great games that have many hours of gameplay.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm fine with games being short, whatever. I don't care. But now we're getting just really good games that are taking 30 plus hours each.
Right.
And that's even sparingly. I'm pretty sure Octopath is going to be I see a lot of people playing 50 to 60 hours. Seems to be about right on beating it. Hollow Knight, you're up to, 23?
Right.
So what, you'll be 30 on that one by the time you're done with it?
Yeah, I think if I don't explore too much of the extra stuff, I think I'll be at about 30, 35 hours when I finish that game.
Which is crazy for a Metroidvania type game. But yeah, a lot of good stuff right now. I'm pretty happy. I'm happy it's summer where I can actually spend some time with it. But yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. The summer has given me so much time to dig into this game, and just being able to laser focus on one game on a handheld, it's been a godsend.
Yeah.
If it was on my PS4, I would have put half the time into it.
Yeah. No, the Switch is pretty amazing for being able to put time into it. Why did I put so much time into Octopath last night? Because it's handheld. I can just go sit on the couch.
Exactly.
All the lights are out in the house. I'm just sitting on my couch playing Octopath. Why not?
It's the dream, man.
Or I can go sit in bed. My wife's sleeping and I can play it. So it doesn't really matter.
Oh, so good. So good.
Yeah.
Just give me more good indies. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
The big AAA Nintendo games will come. And give me these, after this one, and the next one on my Switch is probably going to be Night in the Woods. Which I heard a lot of good stuff about. Golf Stories there. I got Blossom Tales. I've got enough on my Switch through the end of the year until we get to Smash. So, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So I guess that takes us to the end of episode 148 of Prof and Dev Play Games. Moving slowly and steadily toward episode 150. We'll have some game codes to give away for episode 150. I've got a ukulele code that I'll be giving away for PC. We'll scrounge up a couple other codes.
Yeah,
for
I should look through what codes I have. I have plenty.
Excellent.
Have you been taking? Do you have Twitch Prime?
Oh yeah.
Have you been getting all the free games?
I forgot to log in.
You should just go. They last for a long time. Like,
okay, cool.
I was gone for most of the week, and I got back last night. Logged in went to the website, went to Twitch, logged in, and claimed like 7 games.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I logged in like a week ago and claimed a bunch, so I'll log in again after the podcast and do the rest.
Yeah, you should totally do that, because there's a lot of free games.
Awesome.
My Amazon Twitch library of games is growing pretty rapidly.
I wonder when they're going to have their first like exclusive game or some sort of
Amazon has internal game development studios. So
yeah, they're doing Lumberyard, right?
The Lumberyard is an engine that they do, which is CryEngine, their version of CryEngine. Mm-hmm. But they actually, they have internal game studios. I know a couple people that went to work there.
Awesome.
So they are making their own games as well, and we'll see. Eventually, they'll have their own stuff. But
yeah.
So yeah, that's a reminder for anyone listening to this as well to just, if you have Prime, an Amazon Prime, and a Twitch account, get free games. There's some good stuff on there.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the reminder for me. I'm going to do that as soon as we're done here, and then hop on to Hollow Knight.
Good plan.
Man. I guess you're going to hop over to Octopath, huh?
I'm going to process all this stuff, and then jump back into Octopath, and now that I have Tressa, do a hard look on how I want to, what party composition I want to do. Because, awesome. Wow, there's a lot I need to consider now.
There's a lot of systems interacting, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, lots of great games going on. Looking forward to talking next week about the more hours we put into these 2 games for sure.
And see if there's any news. It's pretty slow right now, honestly.
Yeah.
Middle of summer. I think it's going to be, when's Gamescom?
In August.
Yeah, so I think we'll start seeing some more news probably in a couple weeks. Well, probably about a couple weeks before Gamescom, you'll start seeing more leaks again and build up to big announcements.
Well, there's the rumors about a Nintendo Direct coming before the end of the month, so we'll see if those bear any fruit.
Keep going, Nintendo. Well. Give me all the news. Get me excited.
Yeah, there's a couple of leaks that have some interesting, exciting things in them, but they're probably not real. So we'll see. We'll talk about them if they become new. Until then, thanks for listening to episode 148. Rate us on your podcast service of choice if you can. Again, my other podcast, Pan Pacific Improv Fantasy, season 2 launches tomorrow. So check out that crazy madness. It's a little profane, so it's not exactly family friendly. And then we will be back. Again, we'll be back Thursday. I have a podcast interview with a friend who does social media for a gaming company, and that should be a pretty good interview. So check that out this Thursday. And then Anthony and I will be back next week for actually episode 150. So we'll be giving away stuff next week. Yeah, we've been doing this since 2015, man. Trucking along.
We're old. Okay.
Well, we sure are old. Hell yeah, we are.
God.
Every day when I'm just bone tired, I realize how old I am.
And now that reminds me, okay, we should end this and go to bed, because we're old.
That sounds good.
All right.
We'll see everyone next week.
Later, everyone.